CapEx is all funded largely by internal resources. This is just to show you how we have managed our debt versus our CapEx for the last 3 years. We have been implementing a CapEx expansionary strategy in the last 3 years in light of the infrastructure potentials in the market that we have been seeing. So in the last two years, since 2016, our CapEx is usually 6.1 million versus the debt position of 1.9. I'll take you through to the cash flows. We generated positive cash flows of 167, significantly below 6 months last year, 2017. It was mainly due to there was an increase in debtors and a tightened credit policy from our creditors, so we're paying our creditors, and also to improve operating efficiencies through paying creditors with discounts and etc. Net cash utilized in our facility activities was a negative of 73,000. This was a net of a CapEx of 1.2 and proceeds of disposal of available of 1.1 million. And in cash generated from financing, we utilized cash in financing activities. This was mainly due to the dividend we paid in May of 348,000. Resultantly, there was a decrease in cash and cash equivalent of 169, which is a value which is a ratio of not holding huge cash balances. In view of the current and anticipated growing order book and the need to strengthen our capacity, constrain foreign currency capacity and pricing of the plant and equipment that we need to purchase to strengthen our capacity, we have recommended on the board that no interim dividend be paid.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes. On construction sites, otherwise she coordinates everybody else at head office. So certainly, I think from the figures that we've seen, the growth trajectory that started 3 years ago remains on course. And certainly in terms of the strategic direction, in terms of where we see ourselves, with the current overhead that we have, we certainly see ourselves operating within a $70 to $100 million business. So everything else that we do in terms of capacity building is in view of our 3-year strategic plan in terms of where we see ourselves. We see ourselves, RTGS balances, our clients have had RTGS balances which need to be deployed as part of their value preservation strategies. Where somebody puts up a building, one project easily takes up 10 million. Whereas from a civil engineering point of view, we have to go in multiples of say $2-3 million. But otherwise, our intention will have that percentage slightly less in terms of where it is. So I'll try to take you through the operations for those that joined us at the beginning of the year when we toured a few of our projects in Harare. I'll try to just show you where those projects actually are as we're speaking now. Gabriel, I always forget for Gabriel to show me how to do this thing. So not in the old school. In terms of our check policy, that's fine. In terms of our check policy, 0 harm, LTI, lost time injury frequency rate, 1.15 high. We were on incidences that happened where people were injured on site and were not able to come to work for a couple of days. So the LTIFR of 1.15 is as a result of 2 incidences. Regrettably, after that 1.15, with another last one, unfortunately we didn't we did not lose life, but it could potentially have been quite fatal. Where a tractor went down a row and broke into multiple pieces, but the is okay. So as of where we are now, we're about 1.7 and we go all out to ensure that we do awareness campaigns because we don't want that rate to deteriorate as we go in further. If there's anything that we do value is the health of the people that we work with. It's one thing coming here to speak to you as shareholder representatives when somebody else is in hospital or when somebody else has lost a loved one. That's the last thing that we want to do. During the year, we were certified to ISO 9001 2015, and that's about the ISO 18000 and 14000 that we have. That's the certification that I did mention. Edmund talked about the CAM order book, training environment. Look, I really don't wish to be talking about training environments because it is crazy. Out there it is absolutely mad in terms of where the exchange rate is. I believe maybe it's on about 1 to 2. That's kind of the information that I have received today. What it does in terms of materials availability, in terms of space availability, in terms of pricing thereof, given that we are contracts driven. So we sign a contract and we say in 6 or 8 months' time, we shall deliver the project on budget. Then when you've got the maintenance that we have got, it is absolutely crazy. Yes, you can put escalation clauses, but how do you put escalation clauses for the finance director's vehicle? When it goes in for service, you actually can't easily recover that from time. So we working really, really hard to make sure that we try to mitigate those risks, but it is certainly not easy. The growth in turnover could have been by far much better than what we have had. Edmund did indicate that we were 55% up from last year, but we have had a significant infrastructure project that was key to our 2018 performance that led to be suspended because of finance difficulties. We did mention the last time that we interacted that with the project on which we were owed $1.2 million that has been suspended. It has not yet resumed. There's various measures that we have taken to secure our position. We've double-checked again in terms of the viability of that project. We believe that it is viable. We're working quite closely with the client to make sure that there is alternative finance that will be raised so the project may resume in the shortest possible time. Because where we are now, on the statement of financial position, there's a balance of 1.2 million that we have not impaired because we do believe that the debt is recovered. From the Victoria point of view, this is Nakomba. We're still doing Nakomba. We'll soon take people to Nakomba. That's the last part of the concrete of the pump station. Nakomba, this is one of them. Then it's highlighted there. There is an outlet part. That's part of the breakthrough, which is also happening. And you can see the massive steel pipe. That steel pipe is 600 millimeter in diameter because it's feeding to the CFAs and similar 600 diameter is like this. So in other words, you can literally not run it, but you can try to do final things in there. So that's just a demonstration of the capability that we can do outside of the buildings and the housing that we've always known us to be experts at. This is part of the irrigation canals. In Nakomba, you can see that we're getting towards the end, so this water will be coming from the overnight dam to be distributed through canals. How do they take water from the canals? Or they put in siphon pipes. They put in siphon pipes which are like maybe 1.2 meters, and this is got like a 90-degree wide bend, and then they just siphon the water, and then water flows into that was the end now that we're not going to be driving for too long around that area. So we started doing the roads so that the farmers will be able to drive through. This is a water reservoir in Kariba that we built at Baobab Ridge. 5 megaliters, 5 megaliters of water. When we started, the design was 2 megaliters, and then it had to be upgraded because all of a sudden it's not just going to service the bulk of the total suburbs, but it's going to be service. It's light. Strategy process. We like this. This pipe, we put the pipe. Unfortunately, in a factory, a Pro Plastics in joint venture with Pro Plastics through an SPV called that way, which is called 50-50 between Pro Plastics and ourselves. At the moment, we're funding it in our book. We're not so sure about how our client is also funding it. The ground slabs is substantially done. That's the structural steel that you see. That's going up. That structural steel fabricated by Masimba within our structural steel fabrication facility, which is at the back of the workshop. So the steel is now going up. You can see that the trusses that will, yes, you can see those trusses that are going across on that section. On the wider section, which is the biggest part of the factory, our trusses will be like 28 meters long with no support at the bottom. So really some ingenuity and fantastic piece of engineering that our people have done. I'm sure the engineering team that we make for them to be able to put that up. We also take part for women employees. All the details in terms of the cutting, the welding, the detailed specification was done by one of our ladies this year. That's another elevation. You can see the mobile tent and underneath, and you can see our fellows where they operate from. So when we talk about zero harm, and aims of how to fly drones, if you need to take pictures. But I'm sure with the new dispensation, those are some of the issues that we shall deal with quickly as part of the new dispensation. Again, that's part of Sawanda. But if you go there today, for those that have been to Victoria Falls, that place is totally transformed. We've started putting up structural steel. Our objective is to deliver that project ahead of schedule, and we are doing everything that we can to ensure that we do so. Certainly, by the time that the rains come, the building should be for the rainy season. We want to come out of Victoria Falls and go elsewhere. Because as we say, so a few property development companies coming on board to try to modernize their building, their doors that are feeling the pressure of the CBD, they wanting to come. I'm sure you are aware of companies that are putting up their offices outside of the CBD. So we see quite a lot of those opportunities coming up. And so as a result, where we've got resources that are committed, we want to quickly execute the move on to the next opportunity. This is Victoria Falls Mokate. Yes, this is Victoria Falls. So the structural steel that I mentioned earlier on going up. That looks like the supermarket end. For those that we took to Norton, remember when we went to Norton, that place that was static right at the beginning of the project. This is where we are now. This is where we are now at Norton. Norton? Yes, Norton. It's taking very good shape. The roads are all surfaced now. The timing is gone inside. You can see this post here, what we call now industry mallory. That's aluminium. So the next thing is the glazing. So this is substantially done. That's part of Norton. That's the fuel court. And that's the fuel court. Then that's the kiosk over there. Those are the shops in the restaurant. So that's what we've been doing. This is just a brief of the projects that we've been doing. We could have gone on and on. But I suppose what is important for us is where do we go to from now. I said earlier on as part of my introduction that certainly with the overhead structure that we do have, we see ourselves operating at between 70 and 100 million in the short to medium term. What it means from a pressure point of view, that has to be exerted on us from a capacity point of view, whether it's capital equipment, and also from the market segmentation, as you say, where deliberately do we want to get the highest exposure. So that puts in quite a lot of issues. For starters, our order book for 2018 is in place. We will report an order book now that is already getting into 2019. We seem to like what the document is talking about, but at the same time, somebody reminded me yesterday to say we like what former Finance Minister Bernard Zero used to say. We also used to like what Finance Minister Sibamakoni used to say. We also used to like what Finance Minister BT, it's not everybody who see that. What former Finance Minister BT used to say, and we like what Finance Minister Ntuli Nure is saying. But the reality of it, we actually want to see action. But I think the one thing that we can't deny is that whether we like it or not, this economy is actually performing much better now compared to where it was 3 years ago. I think a lot of it, I don't know what to say, is attributable to the new dispensation, but I think there were a lot of pressures, momentum that you could see last year. I sat with a group of colleagues this morning, and we were debating about the economic performance, and somebody mentioned the point to say the unintended devaluation of the dollar, of the RTGS against the dollar, is actually providing quite a fair amount of incentive to certain businesses. In this business whose capacity utilization and throughput have gone up much better. From a competitiveness point of view for exporters and everything else, I can't speak on behalf of exporters. I believe that we're settling as now. So one hopes that, as they normally say, possession is 2/3 of the law. The rate is what it is today, and maybe that's what it should be. Back to 2008, and say let's proceed with what is there. And we think we are well positioned to be able to take advantage of potential infrastructure projects going into the future. Mining, infrastructure, property development, agriculture, then desirable El Nino. We've seen quite a bit of conversation already in terms of some of the plans that can be that the government is intended to implement to mitigate the risk of a prolonged El Nino induced drought. So from a water mitigation infrastructure, you know already what we are doing, but that project is nearing completion, maybe the beginning of next year, and therefore we're now pursuing for new projects. Roads, I want to spend a bit of time on roads. We certainly believe that within the short to medium term, we're going to see a significant shift of our business to roads infrastructure. Given the levels of deterioration that had happened, and also given the government's renewed vigor to be able to tackle and to rehabilitate roads infrastructure. So whichever parts of Harare that you move on, whether you're in Waterfalls, whether you're in Budiriro, whether you're in Mount Pleasant, whether you're in Mabuku, there's something that is happening on there. From a best capacity, that best capacity for us to be able to play in that sector, we've got already. We've got now want to take it to the next level so that we can start being visible in urban areas on roads construction and roads rehabilitation. Our capital commitment, 2.8, we've done 1.2, and we are finalizing within the shortest possible time for us to be able to lead to that strategic position that we want to be in. Certainly, from a structural point of view, we've been urging the authorities to say, don't always be looking outside of the borders in terms of finance of infrastructure. It can be done. It can be done locally. All you need to look at is the quantum of RTGS balances that we have here. Yes, the RTGS balances are owned by only very few corporates, but I think that's by design. That's by design that we've got very few corporates that have got very high RTGS balances, and we think we can capitalize on that by converting part, not converting, by coming up with investment instruments that will cater for the local component of the infrastructure project that we want to do. So if we look at road construction, for example, input content is about 40%. 60% is all local, whether we're talking about labor, whether we're talking about gravel, whether we're talking about stone, whether we're talking about cement. So instead of going to borrow outside the country and borrow whatever million it is, maybe for your local level, it just doesn't make sense. So this is the type of dialogue that we begin to engage in government and authorities at a much higher level to say, we can do these things. We don't necessarily need to repay somebody who is outside of the country for water that we've abstracted from a river. So we do believe that this market going forward, roads, water, and power construction, without any doubt, that these things will be happening. Mining, for sure, we can see the softening in terms of government being much more friendly, appreciative of what it is that the miners have done. In terms of our order book, for the rest of the year, commercial and industrial buildings. Again, when you look at this number here, it is a very, very high number. But bear in mind that one of the buildings project that we have got is our own project that we have to do to utilize the little cash that we were generating as part of value preservation. It is not our intention to stay in that SPV for long. But at the same time, we have to be responsible about it and say at the point that we exit, whom do we actually pass over that step. So one of the buildings which is here is our very own building for itself into real money. This education, which is popped up, and I think this is education. Believe it or not, this is a government project that was suspended in 2012 because of cash flow considerations. The government has come back now with a lot of energy and everything else. Let's get to site, let's dust up everything else, let's dust up the road and so forth, and we're going back to site. So again, in terms of the momentum that I was talking about earlier on, to say there is actually things that are happening, like the comrades or not. The comrades means everybody. Like the comrades or not, there's certainly something. There's certainly something that is happening. Yes, we're printing money. We're printing money out of the TVs that have been issued, but there is TVs which is being maybe correctly deployed. I think what is the problem is to deploy TVs to consumptive spending. I think from the economics point of view, I only go past the lecture theatre that the economics have been touched. So that's where we see ourselves. But as that said, this slide here, mark my word, in the next one and a half years, this line here will be representing a significant chunk of this pie chart. It will really be nice if we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on this other section here, also end up with about four quadrants. Then we know that from the diversification of this point of view, that our exposure will be manageable. In terms of the conclusion, we like what is happening. Without any doubt, we've got a good feel. There is headwinds. There's headwinds surrounding fiscal reforms in demand. Really surrounding fiscal reforms. When you look at the budget deficit that we've got at the moment, really that's the one that is really resulting in inflation getting out of control. So when we try to do internal inflation indices, they vary from buildings to infrastructure projects. Infrastructure projects, because you've got a significant content of fuel, whose price is controlled. For example, you've got cement that is not shot up by as much percentages as other imported products, so that tends on average to mitigate our inflation indices in this stage to about 30% on the civil side. But when you go to buildings, again, split the buildings from the frame, from the concrete frame, or from the frame itself, and then when you go to finishes, where substantially the finishes are important, then you've got inflation which is running in excess of 60%. on the fishery side. So you can imagine from a client point of view, the anxiety, the stress that it puts us when we try to put this across to a client. I wouldn't have gone through extra to say that we want to buy for purpose of taking us to the next level. This is happy to take any questions that you may have. Any questions? Well done. Let me see what I think. Oh, sorry.
I'm just looking at the composition of the infrastructure sector.
Yes.
You also mentioned that it's too low, it's very good.
Yes.
Considering the projects that you will be given as what our people are.
Yes.
Are you considering to be able to with maybe if government contracts maybe foreign persons to
we don't like foreigners. We don't like foreigners from a construction point of view. Because we think, we were discussing this in the morning, because we didn't engage a foreign contractor coming in as a partner. Yes, our capacity is limited, but that's the surest way of externalizing funds from Zimbabwe. So we're going to pay local labor. We're going to pay local labor and then give the capital and the profit to the dividend to the foreigner and everything else. So never mind the list that was published. That list was left out the biggest causes of externalization. Yes, we like partnering. We have got at the moment, this in 2017, 2018, with 2 projects that we partnered with local contractors. We've got one which is likely to resume where we're a joint venture, 50-50 again with the local partner. We've set up a few potential like-minded potential partners outside of the country. That if the works that come is of serious magnitude or levels of complexity that we are not able to partner. But also bear in mind one thing, to say when there is $100 million project, for example, there's very few $100 million projects that can be done in 4 months. So there's only so much that can be done. I mean, civil engineering is a science. You place concrete, you wait for 20 days. It must cure. So that at least you can go to the next level, whether you're putting up a bridge or a dam with all good intentions. I'm sure you will follow the bridge that collapsed in Italy. So the first person who was interviewed says, listen, we can replace this thing in 8 months. Then proper engineers, like the Masimba engineers, said, but this is absolutely madness. Which university these guys go to? Now everybody is accepted that it's a minimum 24 to 36 month process to be able to replace that bridge, because it's just a science. So yes, we're talking to like-minded partners. We've got documents in our cupboards. So when the opportunity arises, then we'll be able to make a move. But what we have learned is that the agreements must be properly structured so that they benefit our shareholders. Yes, sir.
What would you say is the level of competitiveness, particularly the commercial and industrial business? Because now the investment making, I think Masimba Construction is one of the listed companies which is, when we compare to other players, I've seen on board the road, particularly the developments that are happening, most of them are being done by Chinese construction companies. So what is happening?
We're also in Border Road. I suppose maybe you just stopped too early. You just stopped too early, so you need to proceed. You need to proceed along Border Road as if you're going to Gosha, then just jetto about 400 meters off that road. Then you will see the building that we're actually putting up that we took some of your colleagues to at the beginning of the year. As you say, when you look at the quadrant where we are, commercial and industrial buildings represent the biggest single segment. So I'm sure I don't have to say any more in terms of our levels of competitiveness to that sector. But what I must also highlight, we are risk managers. We get sketched by somebody who sleeps overnight. We spend 7 years at university, sketches, and say, guys, I want this to be built for a particular value. And I'm going away and come back in 18 months. You'll be able to take occupation. The levels of risk that you do take is absolutely unbelievable. So each and every opportunity that comes for us is an opportunity to do a risk assessment, a dedicated risk assessment on each project. So when we've got a quadrant that is looking like that, then we say to ourselves, to what extent do we continue to want to take some more on it? So we are driven in terms of where we are. So our risk assessment is transforming all the time and saying, in the next quarter, what's the exposure that we want? Should we take a bit of exposure in this market, or should we actually stop it? But in short, the pie chart does demonstrate that we are competitive. I mean, if you have got a contractor, for example, who may be willing to take 2 reserve bank buildings at the same time, I'll say, please go ahead and take the 2. I'll take 1. That's what I'll say. Because when you put up scaffolding on day number 1 there, you're not going to be able to take it out until after 40 months. Because you'll be going up. So each other project that comes, some more. You'll be buying some more equipment. But generally, we want to think. But you can tell us, but we want to think that we are competitive. We can only do so much, which is why we've got so many financial institutions and so many players that we've got in this way. Yes.
Speaking on your, you mentioned earlier $70 to $100 million business. Are you not worried about maybe the capacity to be able to fill that sort of? You're just looking at it and saying that the space that you're in is probably going to see a lot of growth and see a lot of development coming up. Capacity, is there maybe not a threat from other not new entities, but other people who might be, increasing the capacity at a faster rate than what we might do? You said $2.5 million worth of capital in this current year. If you're looking to get up to $100 million business in however many ways, from where you are now, it's going to take a lot more than that certainly.
Yeah. Certainly, I'm sure in the other boardrooms, there's similar type of conversations that's happening around that. All you have to look at is a view and say, where do you see the GDP of this country going, and what it is that we see. Again, you look at your existing capacity from an overhead point of view and say, to what extent can you actually stretch it? So when you've got your capacity that you have put in place, whether it's capital equipment and so forth, then you say to yourself, what is the levels of utilization of that equipment that we have? To what extent can you actually push it? So from a capacity point of view, are we concerned? We're not concerned. Certainly from the yellow metals point of view, we're not concerned because we're seeing the industry becoming much more mechanized compared to where we've been in the past from being labor intensive. If anything, the constraint may actually be maybe in labor expertise. The constraint may be in the labor expertise. Over the last few years, we've been building our expertise. Obviously we are full here. Our senior project managers aren't here, otherwise we would have introduced some of our senior project managers that are doing projects worth $4 million. But these are guys that can easily sit on a project of $10 million and project manage a $10 million business. So when you start talking about a $70 to $100 million business, you're not talking about individual projects of $1 million anymore. You can understand? Your $1 million project becomes repetitive work to support your existing clients. But for new opportunities that will be coming, I think somebody did mention to say when you talk about growth, the quantum that will be coming, 700 million will be less than 15 projects. Maybe less than 15 projects. And certainly when you look at the profile of our project where we were, this time last year, maybe we had like 20 construction projects. The previous year, we could have known about 25 projects. Where we are now, we're on about 15, 75. We used to say we would move at 2016, I think. The moment that you leave Harare, you put in your logbook what the mileage is, and then when you get back, you have done 1,000 and I'm trying to remember, we do 1,400 kilometers on one hit. Because you start off here, hit the Great Dike, go to, what was that? We'll go to Nika, then from Nika we'll go to Nyanga and come back. Because construction projects in all those areas. It was like we were a logistics business in that year. Purely a logistics business. We couldn't make it construction. We were moving materials. That's what we were doing. We were shopping this thing around the plant and stuff like that. So we're excited.
Canada,
Yes.
capex as well.
Yes.
I mean, there are certain projects that might come along and if you come with specific capex, if you change that picture that you are talking about, like if you get a gem, for instance, which is worth maybe $20 million, it comes with its respective capex. So that can change that picture overnight if you get it like that.
Yeah. And the end of the project, you write off all the equipment. It's like what we're doing in Makomba. So the time that we come back from Makomba, there's like maybe 3-4 people that are going to auction. It doesn't want to hear that we're going to auction in that part of the world. If there's no other person, thanks very much. I'm sure Lois has organized a few things in our usual place. Please join us. Ernest is here, and I'm here. Thank you so much for coming.